and I get about, I would say, 10 call-ins, and all of the questions were very sophisticated, the kind of questions we get on your show, Stan. So I was really up after the program because, you know, people are really learning what it's all about.
Well, this is Dr. Stan, and of course Bob was simply talking about how doing other programs. So many of the people there seem to be fairly well informed about what's taking place, and this is encouraging. Our job, and your job out there in the listening audience, is to get the information out, to talk to people, not lecture them, but just try to get them to think, ask them questions, ask them if they understand that how banks create money out of nothing, ask them if they understand how the Federal Reserve is restricting loans. They keep telling you they're trying to get people loaning, but they're really not. Of course, the people understood the scam. Some of them might be a little bit angry after they've lost their home and their job and their family and their health insurance. Well, our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. If you're out there across America and you have a question for Bob, don't be bashful. So give us a call, 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. And then, of course, Bob, you go ahead and why don't you go tell listeners how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to subscribe to the International Forecaster.
The forecast is about business, finance, economics, and social and political issues all over the world. We publish by email on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and it's around 35 or 40 pages each time. And we have a hard copy that goes out for those who are not on the Internet. If you'd like to get a free introductory copy, you can do it any one of three ways. Go to our site, theinternationalforecaster.com. theinternationalforecaster.com. You can email us at bob@INTFORECASTER.com, bob@inforcaster.com, or you can call toll-free 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188.
All right, well, let's go to Tony, who's calling from Spokane. Again, our telephone number, 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. But I would simply point out that the whole economy of all of the world is collapsing. Now, this didn't happen by accident. It happened as part of long-range planning. And, of course, these companies throughout the world, banks throughout the world, corporations throughout the world, countries throughout the world look to America for a source of stability and profit, and they purchased these fraudulent bonds that were made up of fraudulent mortgages that had fraudulent ratings and fraudulent derivatives to guarantee them, and insurance policies to guarantee the value. And, of course, why isn't anybody suing the major United States banks that sold the fraudulent assets? Well, probably they're afraid they'd be threatened like the hedge funds and pension funds that wanted to challenge the Chrysler sale, and going into bankruptcy and turning over the value of what they have to fiat. I mean, where can you change the bankruptcy laws and let the Obama administration put pressure on a judge to violate the laws of our land? Who wants, of course, to get into any sort of a deal with the government when they can change the rules, as they did with the major banks, and they lent the money, and then they said, now we're going to run and direct what you do. And, of course, Ken Lewis didn't want to take on Merrill Lynch because, of course, he realized that they were going to destroy Bank of America. There were going to be literally tens of billions of dollars of losses if he went ahead with the deal. And he was threatened and told he had to go ahead with the deal when they began using threats on major corporate leaders here in America. Why, of course, we as a country are in real trouble. Well, let's go to Tony calling Spokane. Again, our number, 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. Tony, speak up there.
Oh, how you doing, Dr. Stan?
Doing fine. Good to hear from you. Do you have a question or comment?
I wanted to ask Bob what he thinks of what's going on with the dollar now. It looks like it might break 82, and if he sees it going maybe down to 80, maybe 75 or worse. And also, from either one of you, what do you think about Oklahoma passing this sovereignty resolution? I understand they have like a veto-proof margin there. The governor says he's going to veto it, but they've got enough votes to override the veto. So the dollar and the state sovereignty thing here in Oklahoma, if you could comment on that.
All right, you got two questions, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tony. And of course, the first question.
Well, the first one is the dollar, and all of the subscribers to the International Forecaster were told 3 weeks ago when the USDX index, which is the dollar index, topped out at 89.5, we said that the dollar rally after 8 months was finally over. And we instructed people who it's suitable for to short that index and short the dollar. And I just got a close here. And today, actually the dollar index was up a wee bit today. It was up 0.31 at 82.80. On Friday, it was 82.43.
Well, do you think it'd be a good idea to maybe to short the Standard & Poor index at the present time, or the Dow Jones index?
Both, yes. And anything in that venue, I would be shorting. We've given individual shorts that have done enormously well. But, this is not for the faint of heart. I mean, you're speculating on whether the dollar's going to go down or whether the market's going to go down. And so it takes a certain type of individual investor, and it takes a certain person who knows and understands the market well to do that. I do not recommend trading except for those who understand and know, and I want people, whether they're long or short, to be long-term. And this way, they don't jump up and down every time something goes up and something goes down. I mean, it's a durational thing. And so you've got to take that kind of attitude. The second part of the question, incidentally, 82 will be broken, and we're going back to 71.16. How long it'll take to get there, I don't know. It could be rather quick. It could be before the end of the year. It could be even sooner. I said that the 10-year bond, when it was 235, would be 350 by the end of the year. And on Friday, it was 335. It didn't close there, but if you're patient, it comes to you if you know the right direction and the trend. And that's what the International Forecaster is all about.
All right. Well, the second question was basically what your thoughts were as far as the sovereignty resolution that passed the House and the Senate in Oklahoma. The governor says he's going to veto it, but of course they have enough votes to override the veto. Overwhelming support from the legislators there in Oklahoma for the sovereignty resolution, which basically says we're going to adhere to the 10th Amendment, and most of what the federal government is doing is unconstitutional. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's wonderful. And, I am so surprised that, this thing about 6 months ago came out of the blue. I've been talking about all powers not given to the federal government are hereby given to the states. And for years and years, almost 50 years, I've said, why are we tolerating this? And finally, how many states we got doing this right now?
We got a fair number, maybe 10 or 11, somewhere there, 9 to 11.
No, it's in the legislatures of over 30 states. And it's not that they're going to leave the union, but they're just letting them know in Washington, you're not going to do this and you're not going to do that. And Washington's going to have a choice. They're either going to try to force states to do that, which I think they will, and that will lead to revolution and probably a breakup of the union.
Well, I think that our good friend Charles Key, I think, is one of the people in the legislature there in Oklahoma that is actually behind that. In fact, we sent him a donation when we found he was running. We certainly worked with him very closely during the analysis of the Oklahoma City bombing. It's obvious we have never been told the truth. It's obvious that Timothy McVeigh was working for the government. Why do I say that? Because he told his sister, and you can read that in a book called OK Bomb. Timothy McVeigh told his sister that he's working for a special forces unit that was involved in illegal activity. Of course, the man who wrote the book died mysteriously. His publisher died mysteriously. His ex-wife died mysteriously. That was Jim Keith. The book OK Bomb. You can probably get it on the internet. Timothy McVeigh told his cellmate, the man in the next cell to him in the prison there in Colorado, he was working for the government. That's covered in a book called A Secret Worth Dying For.